Indifferent moms. Murders everywhere you can find them. Sleeping with corpses. Exorcisms performed on dogs. And worst of all, perhaps, just perhaps, the worst of all, the absolute horror of when scooters attack. Those stories and more tonight on Nailsin News.
Creeps and weirdos getting all creepy and weird. Sluts selling butts, them buttholes done been sold. Dogs breeding like bugs, rabbits are coat hangers. Killers killing and killing and killing. Nailsin News. 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 Where'd all the money go? Ain't nobody gonna know. Do you trust your meat to take a walk down the street? While killers be killing and killing and killing. Nailsin News. 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 Where'd all the money go? Ain't nobody gonna know. Do you trust your meat to take a walk down the street while killers be killing and killing and killing? Nailsin News. 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 News.
So, for our first story, we'll go to Florida because where else? That's where all the best stories tend to be. Yeah, yeah. So, here's this lovely Florida mom, indifferent as her kids, 1 and 3, were wandering the neighborhood alone and unclothed. So there's mommy. A Florida mom is accused of neglecting her kids after neighbors allegedly found two unclothed toddlers wandering alone on the sidewalk near her home. Heidi Teresa Diaz Torres, 25, is facing a charge of felony child neglect with no great bodily harm. The children, ages 1 and 3 years old, were found on Tuesday by two women who spotted them in the 700 block of West 37th Street in Hialeah, a city just northwest of Miami. Local, even more local than local ABC affiliate, citing a police report, said that the women told officials that one of the children was able to tell them where they lived, and the women walked them to their home. When they arrived, they were reportedly quite alarmed by the response they got from the kid's mother. According to the police report, she just shrugged and waved her off. When approaching the residence, officers witnessed the children walk outside unsupervised as the mother was not in sight. Due to this, officers entered the residence believing the children could be in further danger. Upon entering the residence, Diaz Torres was asked multiple times if she knew where her children were. She did not answer. Diaz Torres reportedly did say something after being asked if she knew where her kids were, so I guess they asked again, and then she answered. But that was apparently redacted from the report. Jeez, was it that bad? Did she reveal national secrets? I don't know. Police said that she appeared to be under the influence of an unknown substance. Those suspicions were allegedly confirmed when officials, doing a sweep of the home, observed 2 pipes with residue of suspected methamphetamine in plain view. Police then called the Florida Department of Children and Families, who came to the home. Well, she was arrested and booked into the Turney Guilford Night Correctional Center and released after posting $2,500 bond. So, there you go. You know, it's going to be Mother's Day soon. Yeah. It takes forever to work these transition things. Well, anyway, she was busy with her new hobby, pipes and meth. And I don't know, just never got around to at least teaching the children how to dress themselves. Now, I don't know about the 1-year-old. The 3-year-old might have been able to figure it out. But I don't know. For some reason didn't. Yeah, that's a happy little tale, isn't it? Yeah, well. But they took care of it. The neighbors noticed, hey, those 2 kids don't have any clothes on. I don't think that's normal. So they responded accordingly and said, hey, did you know your kids are walking around naked? And the mom was like, yeah, whatever. I got piped to smoke. And so they, oh, I'm sorry. And they left. But then, wait a minute. And called the police. So everything's fine. By the way, Nodak says hit the like button. That's true, Nodak. They should. Pell says, hey, Doug, Nodak, and whoever else shows up. Yeah, we'll see. Nodak says, howdy, Pell. Pell, she almost looks cute. Yeah, that's the sad part about it. He's like, aw, damn it. Did she have to go and just, toss her naked kids out into the street? But, when people fall in love with meth, it's a deep, abiding love. They'll do anything for it, even toss their naked kids into the street, all for meth. Yeah. So anyway, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when you're, irresponsible or something? I don't know. I can't make that into a song. I'm just not talented enough. All right, moving right along. We've got a lovely couple, I guess. I can't even remember. Oh, yeah, this one. Another a motherhood story. So here we go. Mom, who handed her teen son a gun and told him to shoot a homeless woman, is convicted of murder. So I'm guessing this is mommy and this is her boy. So a New Mexico mom who handed her son a firearm and told him to shoot a homeless woman was found guilty of second-degree murder. I got to stop reading the first lines. Why do I do that? I apologize. I'm sorry I did that. I'm embarrassed I did that. According to a Facebook post by Bernalillo, something like that, Cork County District Attorney Sam Bregman, 46-year-old Christina Withrow I don't know, was convicted by a jury of second-degree murder with a firearm enhancement. You mean her son? I don't know. Aggravated assault with a firearm enhancement and tampering with evidence following a jury trial. The verdict marked the end of one chapter of the fallout related to the shooting death of 36-year-old Monique Garcia, who died of gunshot wounds she received at the hands of Christian Crespin, 20, Withrow's son, in April 2023. On April 3rd, 2023, Withrow saw Garcia in the walkway of her apartment building and told her to leave because she assumed the victim was homeless. And blah, 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 blah. The two women then got into a verbal argument, during which time Withrow retrieved her handgun. Withrow then handed her gun to Crispin and told her son to shoot Garcia. Crispin fired 3 shots at Garcia. Well, did the mom say, hey, I only meant once? I don't know. Anyway, he fired 3 shots at Garcia, who was then rushed to the hospital where she died the following day from her injuries. In an interview with police, Withrow said that she had fired at Garcia, but eyewitnesses came forward and reported seeing a male fire shots before fleeing from the scene. So, I mean, if she was just going to fess up to it immediately, she probably should have just pulled that trigger herself, you know? Unless she was like, now this is something you're going to have to learn to do, son, you know? Crespin eventually confessed to the shooting and was charged with an open count of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with evidence. He pled guilty to both charges in April 2024 and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Withrow was also charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder because, see, it was her idea. He said, look, boy, I want you to shoot this bitch. He said, okay, mommy. And he did. But was not convicted on those counts. She is, what? Okay, Withrow was also charged first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, but was not convicted. She is said to be sentenced at a later date. Let me back up. I forgot what the hell she was convicted on. Found guilty on second-degree murder. So just because she said, hey, you know, it would be cool if he took my gun here and shot that lady. And then he did. Yeah, so I guess all right, I guess it's mitigating since you just suggested it. He didn't really have to do it. So she gets second degree. But not conspiracy. But it should be conspiracy to commit first-degree murder because she flat out tells her son, and she's the authority figure. She's mommy. And she said, hey, see that bitch sitting in the stairwell? Shoot her, you know? And he said, okay, mommy. Well, whatever. I guess she'll be out before her boy will. He's got to do 18 years. He probably won't do all of them, though, you know? But then again, perhaps. But maybe not. Yeah. I don't know. The lady was just in the stairwell, so I mean, is that reason enough to shoot? Of course, we don't know what the argument was. Maybe there were threats and all this stuff. Maybe Garcia was bigger than, the killer mom, whatever she is. Oh, Withrow. Maybe it was something like that. But, couldn't there have been another way? It's just curious. Like I said, she fesses up to it, but she says, here, honey, you're younger. You'll get a lighter sentence or something. Maybe that was the thinking. I don't know. But then immediately she says, nah, I did it. I shot her. It's like, well, then why didn't you just do it yourself? Why involve your son in this? Well, unless it was, she said, here's a life lesson for you, son. Whatever. They're going to prison. Pell says instead of Miss America, she can be Meth America. There probably is a beauty pageant of that by now. And then, it's like, can they re-enter year after a while? Because you can watch the deterioration. It'll only take a couple of months. Pell, the look in that mugshot makes her look evil. Well, yeah, it's that's the indifference. She's like, I just want to smoke my meth, okay? Nodak, we forgive you, Doug. Just don't do it again. Oh, reading the top line, that's almost word for word the headline. Yeah. I don't know. I just think I'm supposed to read. Nodak says she was the murdered lady homeless, or did I miss that part? In the mugshots? No, that's the mom who gave her gun to her son and told her son to shoot the homeless lady. They didn't have any pictures of the homeless lady. At least I don't think so. No. So yeah, she was redhead wasn't murdered. She's going to prison for murder. Anti-derivative Jill. Hi, Jill says hi. So, hi. Pell says hi. Nodex says howdy, Jill. And Jill says hey to everybody. Spurg Snakes says hi too. Pell, what a mama's boy. Well, that appears to be the case. Yes. Well, Mommy see it. She did. So said, I gotta shoot this lady. Nothing personal. That's Mommy's orders. All right. Everybody's saying hi to each other. That's nice. We're all here and all that good stuff. So there you go. Another Mother of the Year award. So you get those in these stories from time to time. Yeah, but it somehow it just doesn't fill you with wholesome feelings concerning motherhood and all that, Somehow. But now we'll move on to another story. Perhaps the supernatural. Dealing with exorcism. I don't know. I just saw the headline because I'm that irresponsible. I'll just take a look at what this could possibly be and entail. I'll be your guide. Man allegedly killed mom, I'm assuming his, dog, I'm assuming a dog, not a dog that was also a mother, during exorcism and sent photo to friends on Snapchat. So there's dumbass. So this is the exact same word for word. 23-year-old man allegedly killing his mother. Well, it's more specific. And a dog. Yeah, okay. Fort Worth Police Department officers responded to the 9900 block of Farmers Branch Street for a welfare check and made contact with a suspect who had blood on his body. Police entered the home and found a deceased female inside. They arrested the man identified as Alexander Valdez and booked him into the Tarrant County Jail on one count of murder. Well, according to the affidavit cited by TV, an anonymous person contacted the Fort Worth Police Department and said they received a photo on Snapchat, allegedly from Valdez, of a woman on the ground covered with blood. When police got there, Valdez reportedly had a Bible in his hands as he sat on the porch and said, It was an exorcism, okay? When asked why he had blood all over him, Valdez allegedly responded, I was doing witchcraft to kill my mom. Oh. Police discovered Valdez's mother Tercita Sayson, I don't know, Sayson, deceased with apparent trauma wounds to her face, as well as a dead dog. They reportedly found a jewelry box with blood and hair on it. The medical examiner determined Sayson died from blunt force trauma to the head. There was also reportedly blood on the walls and carpet. Some of Valdez's friends told police that Valdez shared a picture on social media. One friend opened the photo showing Sayson and the dog, and they told the rest of their friends not to click on it. And of course, they did. Well, Valdez's bond was set at $750,000, but you'd think that would get $1 million. I mean, what a weirdo. Yeah, that's enough of you. We don't want to hear from you no more. I don't know. It was an exorcism, but he was using witchcraft to kill his mom. So, aren't you the one who needs the exorcism? And what about the dog? What did he have to do with it? I don't know. I guess it's foolish to try to explain it. So I just won't bother. Anti-derivative jail says, well, my son listens to me too, but I don't order him to murder. Well, that's good. You really shouldn't do that. Pell, instead of Father Careless, he is careless. Father Careless? Well, I don't understand how this even got started. He was thinking, it was an exorcism. So was he exorcising his mother of a demon or the dog? And was he performing the exorcism using witchcraft? I don't know. And then so he's doing this, and then maybe the mom came in, hey, what are you doing to, Barney or whatever they call the dog? And he says, he's possessed by the devil, mother, I must get it out. And mom interfered. So he beat mom. But then he told the police that he was using witchcraft to kill his mother. So why would he kill his mother with witchcraft? Unless he thought she's the one that needs an exorcism. Now, most will say if you mess and dabble with witchcraft and whatnot, you're liable to get possessed by a demon or something. And then you need the exorcism. That's usually how the movies do it. And, you mess with a Ouija board or something. I don't know. But I guess he thought, no, I don't believe in the church, but I believe in exorcism, despite the fact that the church came up with the concept or whatever. But nevertheless, he'll go like, witchcraft will figure out, how to get rid of those demons. So I guess the mother is the one he thought was possessed. And maybe the dog came to mommy's rescue because he's like, this doesn't look right. And came to her defense. And so the kid beat the dog to death as well. Maybe that's it. Maybe there was no exorcism for the dog. But it's clear who needed the exorcism. It was him. The idiot son. Oh, well, that's the end of that story. Pell kids these days and their shortcuts. Well, yes. I guess maybe the witchcraft was supposed to be the shortcut too. He thought this will be easier. I won't have to go to church or anything. I can just, I don't know. How do you even, buy a book of spells or some crap? Whatever, that's what he thought would work. And I'm going to guess it didn't. It's only a guess, but nevertheless, Oh, well, let's move on to, immigration and stuff. This has a connection to that. It sure does. Woman allegedly posed as ICE agent and kidnapped ex-boyfriend's wife. So there she is. I don't think that's the ICE uniform she's wearing, but anyway, she said, "I'm from ICE." Well, anyway, according to the Bay County Sheriff's Office on April 10th, deputies responded to the Bridge Plaza apartments and spoke with the victim, who claimed LaTrance battle. "I'm going to put you in a trance and whoop your ass." Battle showed up at her workplace posing as an ICE agent. Battle reportedly wore a shirt with ICE written on the front. Was it a t-shirt and she just used the marks a lot? You know? Anyway, she showed the victim a sheriff's office business card and carried a handheld radio. Well, good enough. Battle allegedly told the victim she had to come with her, and the victim complied because she's generally felt as if LaTrance was an ICE agent at the time. And she is in the process of becoming a legal United States resident. The victim attempted to contact her attorney and husband by phone, but Battle allegedly forcefully snatched it away. Battle told the victim she was taking her to the sheriff's office, but instead, Battle went to the Bridge Plaza apartments. The victim reportedly suspected something was wrong. She said, "I don't think this is the sheriff's office," and she managed to flee when Battle went into an apartment. See, when you're kidnapping people, you got to make them go in first. That way you have control of the door and all that stuff. In case you're going to pull any stunts like that. Well, anyway, the victim reportedly, she left. Deputies apprehended Battle the next day while she was driving to Alabama. She's in custody at the Bay County Jail on charges of kidnapping in commission of a felony, robbery by sudden snatching, impersonating a law enforcement officer in commission of a felony, and felony violation of probation. So she was on probation. Of course. Bay County Captain Stephen Jinks told TV that the victim's husband and Battle know each other. He described it as a targeted particular incident, adding, "We're not concerned about anything else like this happening." But she did pick her victim. So was she involved with the husband? She wanted him for herself, but he's married to this foreigner, So she thought, hey, I mean, she was going to kill her in that apartment. It's not like she could actually get her deported. So Woeful TV reports the victim called her husband when she got to safety, and he said the ICE agent resembled his ex-girlfriend Battle. Well, there we go. That clears it all up. If I just finished the damn article, I'd know. Court documents reportedly note the victim's husband had an injunction against Battle due to issues they had in the past. Yeah, that's probably the reason why they're not together anymore. And he moved on and married this other woman. Yeah, but Battle said the battle isn't over yet. Or the war, something. Anyway, Bay County court record shows Battle's bond was set at $85,000, and she is not allowed to have any contact with the victim. Well, I would certainly hope not, because what else do you think was going to happen in the apartment? She was going to, okay, you're going to be processed so I can have you deported. No. She was going to kill her ex-boyfriend's wife. That's terrible what the heart does to people, isn't it? Yeah. But oh well, that happens. Oh well, geez Louise. Some people can move on, some can't. In this case, Battle couldn't. But she'll just have to continue with her internal battle in prison. There, that'll make a good little end line, you know. It's almost philosophical and stuff. Isn't that great? Nodak says, maybe the kid beat his mom with the dog. Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That could be the deal. Pell LOL at that visual. Pell Snoop Icy. Yeah. Now the shiznit is about to hit the fan. Nodak, Flavor Flav. Without the glasses and the hat. So Pell, she looks like La Trans. Spurg Snake says, LOL. Anti-derivative Jill, at least this one was stopped before she murdered. Well, yeah, so, but that's all because the victim figured it out and thought, I'm not going in there. Probably when, what's her face? I'm already forgetting the name. Battle walked in through the door. The victim said, screw this, and shut it and ran down the stairs or whatever. Yeah, see? Battle wasn't smart enough to get ahead of the situation. And so there you go. That's what you get for not being smart. You got to go to prison. See? I hope you've all been paying attention, because when you eventually, kidnap your romantic rival, as you know, everybody goes through that phase. Well, you got to maintain control. Well, that one all worked out, so everybody can relax and not worry about it. I'm sure one day, they'll all forgive and forget, and say, hey, we can laugh about it now, Yes, another one. Florida woman sentenced for arranging to have the father of her child killed. Yep. I guess it didn't work out the way she'd hoped. The First Judicial Circuit State Attorney's Office, the first one, said that on April 24th, a jury found Rachel Moore guilty of first-degree premeditated murder and tampering with evidence. A judge subsequently sentenced her to life in state prison without the possibility of parole. Man, some people only get 18 years for blatant murder, but others, they get life for just, contemplating it. According to prosecutors on March 19th, 2023, Moore's former stepfather, Jason Curtis, fatally shot Colby Vincent. I thought this was like arranging, but I guess, it did happen. All right, my mistake. Stason fatally shot Colby Vincent. Vincent had just arrived home with his 4-year-old daughter, whom he shared with Moore, and was unloading groceries at the time. Authorities responded to a report of a shooting and found Vincent's body next to his daughter. They did it in front of the girl. A judge reportedly granted Vincent shared custody of the child. Upon further investigation, authorities learned Moore had communicated with Curtis in the week leading up to the shooting. Curtis reportedly drove from Alabama to Florida to kill Vincent, a plan the two previously discussed. Moore allegedly gave her former stepfather gas money and provided him with Vincent's information so he could find and shoot him. The Coleman County Sheriff's Office arrested Curtis on an arrest warrant out of Santa Rosa County. Investigators searched his car and reportedly found a firearm and a handwritten note with a description of Vincent, his vehicle, and addresses. According to Where TV, why would a fashion channel be involved in this? But anyway, Where TV, Curtis was previously sentenced to life in prison. I'm assuming they mean for this case. Otherwise, how'd he get out? Yeah. So anyway, she didn't like sharing custody with the ex, and just like Hey, Daddy, can you deal with this? Which is a former stepfather. So her stepfather is no longer with her mother, but somehow, because all she gave him was gas money. I'll pay for the gas so you can get here. And he said, well, all right, yeah, I'll head over there and I'll kill him. And that's just what he did. Well, he's dead. And now they're all going to jail. You know, that's what they're doing. Oh, yeah. Jays, what's the ending line? Hmm. Former stepfather does it all for gas money? Hmm. Oh, well, they're in prison, and that's that. Yeah, that'll work. Best I can do. Um, Pal, you know her Mother's Day gift won't be parole. Yeah, I guess not. You know, I mean, hey, what a wholesome memory for your daughter. But he's like, I killed Daddy for you. Probably what she thinks. I don't know. Hey, Thompson. Hey, Doug, anything good on Netflix this week? I don't know. I haven't looked. There's probably something though. Probably something. Hell, there might even be stories like these, all about murders. It's almost always murder. There might be a story about theft, but then it results in murder. And that's why they'll pick that one for a story of some sort, documentary, whatever the hell you want. And, I didn't think it would end up like this. Real. You didn't think when you pulled the trigger in that guy's face, it wouldn't blow his brains out all over the wall behind him. No, I didn't. I didn't think that would happen. Well, it did. Yep. Yep. Yeah, people got to come up with better stories, you know. I mean, but it's not that it's going to work. Anyway, hey, Thompson, how many hours until Super Chats? A lot. Let's see here. Man lived with beaten woman's rotting body for over a week before dumping chopped up remains at cemetery. Yeah, that's not how you arrange to have a body, put to rest, Looks like they busted him while he was sleeping. Huh? Yeah, we know you did it. Oh, jeez. Well, a Connecticut man allegedly beat a woman to death with a baseball bat over $200 in cocaine, then lived with her body in their apartment for over a week and a half before he dismembered her, put her torso in a suitcase, and rolled it to a nearby cemetery. Donald Kofel stands accused of, you guessed it, murder in the death of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser. In the city of Groton, or Groton. Sounds like one of those alien names from old, 50s sci-fi movies. I am Groton, and the earth will yield to my power. According to a probable cause arrest affidavit posted to local CBS affiliate with the Groton City Police began investigating on March 19th when a passerby smelled a foul odor, from a suitcase at the entrance of Colonel Ledyard Cemetery. Boy, you really don't want to smell that stench at the cemetery. It means somebody didn't do his job or a murderer left remains, right there at the gate. It's not like some mother in trouble leaves her child at the doorstep of the hospital It doesn't work out that way. Someone will come and take care of business. Here, it's going to lead to an investigation and everything. So anyway, I'll look at that suitcase. Yeah, I'd pass it all the time, but then suddenly it really started to stink, and I thought, there's something not right here. The caller told cops he had noticed the suitcase near some trash cans and became curious about what was inside. Oh boy. You opened it, didn't you? When he walked up to the suitcase, it smelled as if something was rotting inside. So he called police. Oh, I guess he didn't look into it, but it was next to the trash can, so you might have thought, there's something dead in the garbage. But I guess he got really close to the suitcase and was going to open it. He's like, holy crap, that foul stench of death is coming from the suitcase. Cops got on scene and opened the suitcase. Oh, man. Hopefully they had masks or something. To find the torso of a woman's body that was missing the head and other extremities. That's why you just say the torso. Okay? He chopped everything else off, probably burned it or whatever. But the torso, he's like, this is going to take more work than I care to do. So he's, I could probably fit in that suitcase. I really like that suitcase, but who am I kidding? I'm not going anywhere. Oh, yes, he is. But he didn't think so at the time. So he figured, I don't need it no more. So he put the torso in there. But anyway, yeah, that's why you say you found a torso in a suitcase. You don't have to explain. It didn't have arms and legs and a head. It's just a torso. Yeah. Police on April 11th posted a press release on its Facebook page about the death, along with an FBI tip line. Wormser's sister called in to say she hadn't heard from her in months, and she didn't call to wish her a happy birthday, which was unlike her. She gave cops Wormser's address, and detectives went to check out the apartment in the 100 block of Allen Street, which happens to be less than 1,000 feet from the cemetery. It can't possibly be just a coincidence. Officers also learned that Koffel had lived with her for a time. Neighbors told cops they hadn't seen Wormser in months, and Koffel was in the hospital. Must have injured himself when he was dismembering her, And that's why eventually when he got to the torso, he just like, I'm beat. I'm just going to dump this at the cemetery. Cops entered the home, and it was evident there had been a crime committed. There was blood on the walls, rugs, furniture, and clothing. Again, he was really tired after chopping her up and stuff. So he just didn't have the strength and energy to clean the house. Investigators also found a baseball bat hidden behind a bookcase. On the bat, there appeared to be dried blood and strands of brown hair matted on it. Detectives went to the hospital to speak with Koffel, who was receiving treatment for pancreatic cancer. Oh, well, geez. If he'd have just waited a little while, During a non-custodial interview, Koffel explained that he used to be Wormser's neighbor before he moved to Arizona for a few months to live near his sister. Well, that didn't work out, so he moved back to Groton. Since he didn't have anywhere else to live, Wormser allowed him to live with her starting in late November. What an asshole. She said, well, you can shack in my place, Oh, thanks. And then he gets a baseball bat. He told cops Wormser had drug and mental health problems. Then leave. And he didn't particularly like her. Then leave. But he tolerated her since she was allowing him to live in the apartment. Well, you didn't tolerate her enough. Asshole. Koffel said he had back surgery in late December and stayed in the hospital before returning home in late January. He said she was there when he came home, but later left. Cops noted in the affidavit he seemed to settle on the idea of the victim going missing between January and February when he came back from a hospital visit. Koffel allegedly said he didn't know where she went, and it wasn't unusual for her to leave for a day or two at a time and return. Meanwhile, investigators tested the blood in the apartment, and it came back as a DNA match to the remains found in the suitcase at the cemetery. Detectives received a call on April 22 from a witness who told them Koffel allegedly admitted to him that he beat Wormser with a baseball bat because she stole $200 worth of cocaine that was in his briefcase. They returned to the hospital on April 23rd and confronted Koffel about this revelation and questioned if they were going to find his DNA on her body. After repeated questioning, Koffel allegedly copped to his crime. He said, "All right, man, I did it. I hit her in the head with a fucking baseball bat and it cracked her fucking head open." Koffel allegedly told cops he killed her sometime in the early part of January. Upset about the missing drugs, he said he walked up to her with the bat and hit her in the head 3 times, killing her, according to cops. Yeah, that's not going to get the cocaine back, you know? Plus, were you paying rent or anything? I don't know. She's probably entitled to that coke, you know? Anyway, about a week and a half of living with the body, he used a hacksaw to chop her up. Man. He disposed of her parts in trash bags and dumped them in 2 different dumpsters. He put the torso in the briefcase and took it over to the cemetery. Well, that was stupid, huh? I mean, what? There were only 2 dumpsters in town, and if only there had been a third one, I would have put the torso in that. But then I noticed the cemetery, and I thought, hey, there's a lot of dead stuff there. Maybe no one will notice. Yeah, it didn't work out. No. Police obtained a warrant for murder and arrested him at the hospital, where he remains because, he's probably dying anyway, because the case was so gruesome and there were so few details publicly released in the early part of the investigation. Rumors swirled about a possible serial killer. But cops debunked that rumor at a Friday press conference announcing Koffel's arrest. Well, how do we know he hasn't killed them all? Well, Koffel's being held on $1 million bond. Well, he's dying of cancer, so he figured, I was just pissed about the coke, Well, again, she gives him a place to live, and he's like, I didn't really like her. She's crazy, and he wouldn't leave, but he had $200 worth of cocaine, so she helps herself to it because, hey, you're living under her roof, probably rent-free. And he got upset. Well, you could have saved me some. Come on. Something like that. But instead, he just grabs a bat and beats the crap out of her until she's dead. He's an asshole. But he's dying of cancer, so again, he probably doesn't care. So, yeah, no tears shed for that asshole. A. Thompson should be about 800. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. Probably a little more. Yeah, Connecticut. Way to rep. Hey, Thompson, hey, funerals are expensive. Well, that is true. It is, but I don't know that that's a cheaper, alternative to just, look, can I just leave the body here at the gate? They'll probably frown on that, especially since the cause of death was you beating them up. And then I know he's going to say, look, I made it easy for you. I cut the head and legs and arms off. There's not much left. But no. Pelel Groton is pronounced Groton. Well, then they should put the 2 T's, but that one only had 1 in the article. A. Thompson, that bitch stinky. Yeah, but it wasn't her fault. This asshole. killed her, and of course she's going to rot. That's what the dead do. Well, actually, it's like cotton, but grot. Yeah, groton. But I don't know. Groton just sounded cool. You know, like a guy from outer space. Hey, Thompson, never get curious around trash cans. Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's part of the job. But one time, man, I assume this was a dead dog in the trash. But it could have been a body part, you know. Nodak, he must not have had a bowling ball bag for the head. Yeah, well, that's the thing. He found two different dumpsters and just, for whatever reason, couldn't find a third. So he just, like I said, he must have been driving around town and he said, wait a minute, that's a cemetery. That's where they put dead people. And he just leaves the trunk there by trash cans at the gate or something. It was stupid. A. Thompson, Carmex is going to eat our souls. Yeah, I don't think so. Nodak, who the hell has a briefcase? Well, he did, because he was in the cocaine business, I guess. Who the hell knows? Well, no, they did say suitcase, because I don't think you could have fit a torso in a briefcase, unless, she was really petite, Pella, I doubt she touched his cocaine. Douche probably snorted it all and got angry. Yeah, probably so. He's like, where is it? I know you took it. And bashed her head in. And then, ooh, ooh, ooh. Now he just made all that work for himself. What an idiot. But that's what happens, Susan Dolan says, hail to everybody here. Hail, Susan. Pale Ale says, hey, Susan, how you doing? Susan says she's doing okay. All right. Well, that's it for the guy who doesn't understand how you're supposed to deal, well, I can't say a loved one's death. A roommate's death, I guess. Yeah. I mean, of course, he couldn't call the authorities and say, well, she's dead. Come pick her up, bring a hearse and all that. Because they're like, what's with all the blood splatter and that bloody baseball bat with matted hair on it that you're holding in your hand? Oh, this? Well, he puts it behind the bookcase. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. So he just thought he would have to do his own delivery of, the torso, which, by the way, turns out a torso doesn't have arms, legs, and arms, legs, and a head attached. It's just a torso. It's the only way you're going to fit in the suitcase, unless, of course, the body is considerably small. It's a good thing True Crime or Law and Crime, I forget which one it was, pointed that out, We'd all be lost without him. Oops. Woman fires shots at Pussy Boy roommate during fight over who's really in charge. Well, she's determined it's her. Okay, I guess I can read this. A Florida woman, yes, another one, is facing multiple charges for opening fire on a man she lives with after he told the 59-year-old, you don't run this house, prompting her to spit in the victim's face and pull a silver revolver on him, which she blasted in his direction at least 4 times. Pussy Boy Cassandra Stuckey allegedly called the victim before opening fire on him, according to her arrest report, which was obtained by local ABC affiliate Stuckey, who is a Miami resident, has been charged with attempted second-degree murder with a deadly weapon and illegal possession of a firearm in connection with her alleged Sunday night shooting attack. The man, who has not been identified publicly, was at a home that he shares with Stuckey in the 1800 block of Northwest 44th Street when she allegedly fired upon him. The victim allegedly told authorities he heard Stuckey talking to someone outside the home about how she runs this house. When she walked inside, he allegedly told Stuckey, "You don't run this house," before going into his room. Police said Stuckey retrieved the revolver from her bedroom and then walked over to the victim's glass-paneled door to his room, tapping on it with the gun. After calling him a pussy boy, she fired a single shot into his room and then 4 additional shots. A witness who was at the scene allegedly told detectives he heard the argument and watched Stuckey fire 3 to 4 rounds toward the victim's bedroom. Stuckey, a 4-time convicted felon for possession of cocaine, allegedly denied firing a gun into the victim's bedroom and noted how there were no bullet holes in the victim's door to prove it. A gun matching witness and victim descriptions was allegedly found inside the home the following day. It's unclear what sort of relationship Stuckey and the victim had, with cops only revealing that they lived together. Stuckey was being held Monday on $12,500 bond. Well, she called him pussy boy. Was he just not into her? I don't know. But there were no bullet holes in the door. But were there bullet holes in the wall next to the door that goes into the bedroom? Forensics will have to tell the tale. Gee, you wonder why Pussy Boy just wasn't into her. Oh, well, that's too bad. That's too bad. That's too bad. Let's see, what's the final line here? Gee, I don't know. Courtesy requires you knock on the door, yes. But using bullets instead of, one's fist or the door knock upon the door is just not called for. Plus, I don't know, Pussy Boy. I mean, he said, "You don't run this house," and she had to show her superior status within the household, calling him the pussy. And ultimately had to back that up with a gun. I guess compensating, I don't know. Anyway, that's how that went. Again, best I can do, I don't know. Pale Ale says, all that work and no Coke for energy. Yeah, that's the problem. Jill says hi to Susan. A. Thompson says hi, Susan. Mumbles Slam. She must have went to the Stuttering John School of Name Calling. Unless that was her cute nickname for him all this time. Probably not, though. He was like, "You don't run this house." And she said, "Hey, pussy boy," and started opening fire on him. It must have been the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. Susan Dolan, what's this? Open season on roommates? Yeah, I know. There seems to be a theme here that just roommates aren't getting along. Pale Ale, it's being a pussy boy just a fine in Florida? Probably. Nodak, those charges are definitely going to stick. Well, unless they can't explain where the bullets went. I mean, if there's no holes in the door. I mean, they probably checked the wall. I don't know. You would think the police report would have made mention of it. It probably did. It's probably just this lazy article, Hey, Thompson, Doug, are you a fan of the new Predator movie? Well, considering I haven't seen it, no. I'm not crazy about the look of that Predator, but the rest of it looks fine. it's an interesting thing that they're kind of jumping around in time with the story now, because the last one was about the the Indian tribe and that girl. So now they're like way in the future. Pell, she had to protect her rep. He was testing her street cred. That's true. She had to, establish her dominance, because she couldn't be seen having been beaten down by a pussy boy. Pell, no holes in the door. You must ignore. Yeah. The lawyers. Damn it. I should have thought of that. Nodak, they have to stick. Her last name is Stucky. Oh, yeah. Okay. John Kensel. Great. John Kensel. Hi, John. John Kensel, we used to work together on the Bob Levy show. And John was good with puppets and stuff like that. And also had these great stories. I mean, just tons of them. And we had a section called Kinsel's Corner. And I mean, almost every week, he would have another one. There's just tons of them. I don't know if they're still available. I don't know where those shows are, because it was incredible. Plus, John also participated in some of my Halloween horror stories, audio plays, and the main one he did was the adaptation of Dracula. That Bob Levy was supposed to do Dracula, but it was at the time, I think, not long after the accident or whatever. Anyway, he just wasn't going to be up to it to be able to do it, so I had to just do the voice. But John played the main character, sort of the John Harker character in the Dracula story, and Stacy Pressman played his wife. And of course, John was this plumber who was hired to go take care of the plumbing at Dracula's house. Because Dracula kept flushing body parts or blood down the toilet, and it would clog. And then he took an interest in John's wife and all that stuff. So you get the story. I was Dr. Van Nailsin. Get it? Yes. And it was a lot of fun. So good to see you, John. Thanks for stopping in. A. Thompson, Predator and Alien looks like it will merge. Well, they already did. They weren't very good, but yeah, they're probably going to do it again. I think there's some Wayland Yutani stuff in the trailer there and stuff like that. Plus, I think the girl looks like an android, one of those from the Alien movie and stuff. So they're probably going to try to do the merger again, but probably take some care to it as they go forward. But, we'll see. Anyway, A. Thompson, like a good merge, not AVP. Oh, you're right. Okay. That's, same thing. So, the first one was stupid, but yeah, it was kind of fun. The second one, I mean, it's like they turned the lights off on the whole shoot. And I guess it's just as well, because I can barely even remember what the hell that was. It was terrible. I mean, it was almost as dark as it is here. I mean, without the white shirt, my tie, and my face, would you even know I was here? Huh. Wonder. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, on to more news. Oh, wait, I just did that one. Yeah, that's it for Pussy Boy. You stupid pussy boy. Oh, yeah. This one. Because it's time to warn people about the dangers of scooters. I know you think they're cute and stuff, and it's for old people and fatties, but what about the danger? These could become lethal weapons in the hands of people who may not be at their best to control them. Well, you'd best think about it. No. Woman 88 busted for scooter crash. Accused fled scene after plowing SUV into victim. SUV? You just said scooter. Oh, maybe the scooter got hit. I got this completely wrong. You see, I should do the research. But again, I'm just not that competent. Oh, no. Oh, geez. This is the nice lady who could bake cookies and everything, but well, in another instance of gray on gray crime. So, an old lady injured another old lady. An 88-year-old woman is accused of fleeing the scene. Were you able to catch her? I mean, after plowing her SUV into the mobility scooter of a 77-year-old victim who was thrown from the electric vehicle and hospitalized for her injuries. Investigators say Carolyn Segrist was driving in the parking lot of a Sam's Club in Clearwater around 8:30 a.m. When the crash occurred. Segrist, cops charged, struck Laverne Hampton's mobility scooter with the front of her Buick Envision. Hampton was thrown from the scooter and was hospitalized from her injuries. Wow, she made it through. Segrist allegedly did not stop at the scene of the crash to render aid or exchange information. Well, look, she's probably, really small and stuff, and didn't even see that she ran over anybody. She probably thought she hit a raccoon, a squirrel, or something like that. I heard a thump. I probably didn't even hear it, Well, the court records do not reveal the extent of the injury suffered by Hampton. Well, considering her age, they're probably pretty severe. 4 hours after the incident, police arrested the retired octogenarian for leaving the scene of a crash involving serious injury. A felony. Segrist was booked into the county jail and scheduled for an initial court appearance. Segrist lives about 4 miles from Sam's Club. See, well, I'm about to say you could have walked it. Or maybe a bike. But nah, she's in her 80s. Near the Sam's Club in a condominium she purchased with her husband in 1987. In 2023, she pled guilty to careless driving that resulted in a crash. She was fined $166 for that traffic infraction. Well, maybe you should have revoked her driver's license. She's in her 80s. I mean, I doubt that she had it in for this woman. You think some sort of thing was going on? I mean, her husband's probably dead by now. You think maybe he was checking out the 77-year-old, wanting to, jump the fence. But, she probably just can't control a vehicle anymore, That's unfortunate. But then again, there's also the injury. So this woman could still die from what happened. So, yeah, it's not looking good for Segrist. Oh, yeah. Well, one can hope things do work out because that's not a good one. I don't know. They might consider her age and maybe she stays in jail for a couple of months and then they let her go and put it on probation. So now. But for God's sakes, could you at least this time decide, maybe she shouldn't have a driver's license anymore? Of course, we don't know how bad the previous crash was, but still, pretty good indicator. Yeah, she no longer has the ability to do that sort of thing, Hey, Thompson, YouTubers slowed down the preview. The Predator trophy cabinet contained aliens from Independence Day. Yeah, I saw that. Nodak, it was probably 4 p.m. and she was late for supper. It could be she was in a hurry and all that sort of stuff. And he says she fled the scene, but it's possible she didn't realize she had done it. Oh dear, what was that? Pale ale, more like Buick evisceration. Folks, you don't want to miss out. Head down to the dealership and get your Buick evisceration. Susan Dolan, whatever happened to the hybrid alien predator? Yeah, that was, I guess, was it the first one or the second? I guess it was the second one where they had the predator and had a chest burster burst out and it looked part predator, part alien. I don't know. They'll probably do something like that. It's kind of like a throwback to, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. But at this point, after what Alien Covenant did to the narrative of Alien, you might as well. There might be a better chance merging with Predator World. Pale Ale, Seacrest is going to be like, Seacrest, out. Yeah, I'm afraid that's what she's going to have to say. But like I said, they're like, come on, it's Grandma. I know. Let's just give her probation. Here you go, Grandma. Here's your keys to your Buick evisceration. Yeah. So I think the authorities could take some blame for this. There were warning signs. What? They didn't respond accordingly. Anyway, I hope the old lady that got hit survives. But boy, oh boy, the scooters. Of course, I guess, I can't remember. Was it in the parking lot? Fleeing the scene, plan mode, it's good. The victim was trying. Doesn't really, the parking lot of the Sam's Club. That's what it was. So, she was just riding the scooter around. It's not like, because I see people ride these up and down the streets and stuff. It's like, this is not a good idea. But, that's what she was doing. Probably just heading over with a basket full of groceries to her car. And here came the Buick evisceration, But at least she wasn't completely eviscerated. Hopefully she recovers. But still, 77? Man, that's a lot of pain. Nodak, Grandma got run over by a Buick. Yep, that's what happened. That's what happened. And it's more likely than the reindeer. Although I suppose you could get run over by a reindeer, just not a flying one. So, you're out in the woods looking for Pookie or Puppy or whatever, and then here comes a reindeer. Get out of the way! And runs you over. It is plausible. But more than likely, a Buick evisceration will run you over. Even when you're just minding your own business in the parking lot. Pale Ale, Buick does make a Rainier. LOL. Well, close enough, but does it fly? Well, I guess in some situations it could be made to for a few seconds. That could happen too. It sure could. Why not? All right. Well, that's it. See, the victim didn't die. So I figured, well, that's as light as a final story as I could find. To end on that note, rather than just another horrible story of murder. None of which was necessary. They almost never are. I mean, usually you get a manslaughter case where a fight breaks out and it goes too far. That sort of thing. But these were all murder. So I'll leave you with that to go to bed on. Jeez. Yeah, that's all I got. So a little too tired. The voice is breaking and going away. So I'll take a break and we'll meet again for another session with your pal. Me. That's right. Me, Mr. Nailsin. I know it says Douglas Nelson, which is correct. I am Douglas Nelson, but I also go by Mr. Nailsin. See? See? Have a good night, everybody.
Killers, killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. Nailsin News. News. Where all the money go? Ain't nobody gonna know. Do you trust your meat to take a walk down the street? While killers be killing and killing and killing and killing. Nailsin News. Ain't nobody gonna know. Do you trust your meat to take a walk down the street while killers be killing and killing and killing and killing? Nailsin News.